Scott, welcome back to Corvallis. Quite the trip for you guys in the WCC Tournament. 2 game winners and then a battle with Portland that really went down all the way to the wire. Just what was that experience in Vegas like for this team?
Tough. I always say conference tournament's the toughest thing we do during the year. 3 games in 3 days against opponents that you're probably playing for the 3rd time. They know you so well, you know them, and so it turns into basically a wrestling match. It's kind of what it seems to be, and that's what it was. The San Francisco game was just so tough and tight. Their defense was so good. Nothing was easy in that game. Gonzaga was the same. Yesterday, I felt like we were in a little bit more control of the game yesterday than the first 2, but still, we couldn't get away. It was still within reach throughout, and so it truly tests you, and this team is so tough and resilient. We've been in so many tight battles all year that it felt like we're just ready for this. We're prepared. We know who we are in these moments, and I think all those lessons and all that growth all just came to fruition, and they got it done, and they had this cool, amazing core belief that's been developed throughout the year where they not only think they can win, they feel like they should.
You talked about how much you love this group. Does it almost feel more rewarding just because of all the obstacles you guys have sort of had to come over?
I think there's probably a common thread within that where everybody's got a collective chip on our shoulders, for different reasons, but we all have one, and everybody's got something to prove. We said that from the beginning, so many people that have been waiting for their shot, now they get their shot, and let's see what we can do with it. People counting us out a bit, before the season, I've used the phrase left for dead. It's kind of what it was a year ago, like what's going to happen next? Can they recover from this? There's so much uncertainty, and so we all just rose into that together. And I think it was a common thread throughout our team, and we fought so hard because of that. And then you put the quality of people in the room, together, high character plus a common goal, mission, great things happen, and it's a lot of fun when everybody steps up into it.
Can you talk to me just a little bit about what the hours were like after you guys won the tournament title? Like, what were you thinking? What were your feelings? And just even the drive back here to, knowing that you had a bunch of fans waiting, just what was going through your mind?
Yeah, just pure joy. Just pure joy. When things happen that are kind of beyond, maybe the scope that you have at the beginning, when it's beyond the dream maybe, or when something comes together and it's maybe unexpected, and there's no greater feeling. It's just so rewarding for so many reasons, and this team just has so many incredible storylines that you just sit and think about each one, and it just brings you so much joy. So it's that. It's a massive sense of accomplishment, and I'm just so happy for everybody. So it's just nothing but good feels through and through, and excitement for what's next.
You've won a handful of these conference tournaments now in your career, from the NWC to Pac-12 and now WCC. Where does this one rank for you?
They're all super special. Winning one of those, from the conference of Tar Vanderveer. Conference tournament's not easy to win, in the Pac, and they haven't been, and so that seemed almost elusive. The Northwest Conference back in the day, that's on your home floor. You kind of feel like you should. If you lose it, it's just a gutting, but we won several, and then this one, because of what it meant for this group, is right there with any of them. I think it's all relative, and so it's super special. I can't rank it, but it's right there at the top with the rest.
Coach, I want to ask you, if someone isn't familiar with this team and the run you've kind of been on, you lose a large portion of your roster, you start 1-5. Was there a moment, a meeting, a game, something you look back and said, that's where things really turned around for our team and got us to this point?
Yeah, there was a specific moment, and that was our game against UConn. Probably might have seemed crazy to schedule that game under the circumstances, but it's like when you play the best, you learn a lot. And so, okay, here we go, throwing ourselves to the wolves. The first half went as you might expect. We got down early a lot, but this team outscored UConn in the second half, and we saw just flashes of kind of brilliance. Our defense had them on their heels. UConn was searching for shots against our zone. And then on the other end, we went 8 for 10 in the fourth quarter from the field against them. And, while the game wasn't close, it demonstrated what we were capable of. And I think there was a core belief and a moment that we could reflect upon, that would inspire what was next and kept us going.
Now moving forward, that's the kind of effort you need, right? In the NCAA tournament, one and done kind of feel. How do you reset after this and kind of give it your best now and see how deep you can go?
This conference it's so unique. I think a lot of people following us weren't familiar with the West Coast Conference in detail, for sure. There are so many different styles of play in this league. We have been pressed every which way that you could possibly. More so than the Pac, actually. We've been pressed every way you can. We've been defended in the court-to-court every way you can. This team has been through it as far as styles of play. We've had to answer the bell on the boards. We've had to step up defensively, and that's what everybody's seen this last month. Our defense is completely different. It's a legit, solid defense with size at the rim, athleticism on the perimeter, and physicality. And then yesterday, I thought the key stat in the game was our defensive rebounding. Portland had 24 offensive boards against Washington State, and yesterday I think we out-rebounded them by 20 or something like that ourselves. And so, we're doing all the things necessary to play with anybody, at this point. And now we know ourselves better offensively, and so I just feel like we're in a really good place going forward, and we're excited to just take another step.
Not that you lost your love for the game, but it seems like there's a different type of energy about you. They got that great picture of you kind of doing the Jordan jump through the crowd when they're tearing down the nets. Does it feel any different? Does this bring you a different type of joy? Have you found something new inside of you?
Yeah, it's a great question. There is a lightness right now. It's hard to explain. I would say I was pretty close to this a year ago. I was in heaven last year because I felt all the same qualities with that group. And we were doing things people doubted and all that stuff. Picked 10th, I think, in the preseason, and here we are, hosting. And so this year, this team has a humility, a joy, a level of fun to them. Every day is just smiles. So it's very similar. And they want to be coached, so that's a piece to the puzzle that for someone in my position, it makes me super happy, to be a part of a group that really is desiring what you can offer. And so we've had this great relationship, all year long as we're trying to pull them along and get a little bit more out of them that they question if they have, and then they get into it, and then, I can, So there's just a really neat rapport that we have that allows everybody to just kind of be themselves, and so I can be silly, and do funny jumps after wins, which is somehow a tradition that somehow leaked out onto the game court yesterday. And so it was a fun moment.
It's a very different position than you were in January when the team lost 4 in a row. How did you snap out of that in 10 and 2 cents? What was the key to turning that around?
Well, I think consistency has been our issue. I mentioned UConn a bit ago. The UConn game showed us a flash of being scared and what it could bring out of us, when we really wanted something collectively, like anybody would want to play against a great team like that and a program like that. That then became our nemesis. It was just consistency. And so those losses came down to just mistakes down the stretch of close games. Obviously a really deflating loss to Portland here, but then 3 close losses after that. And then they just rallied and got better. And then I would say that I think a pivotal moment for this group down the stretch here has been the St. Mary's loss, just a couple weeks ago. We're up 19 in that game and found a way to lose it, on the road. And we learned that we cannot take the foot off the gas. It was probably the best thing that could have happened to us going forward. We have to play at our peak all the time. And for this group to focus, we're talented, we're good, but we can be average at times. And so for us to be what we can be, it's all up here, and it's just keep going, basically.
You've been waiting all season for this team to maybe start to shoot like a typical Scott Rueck team. That 3-point shot starting to maybe find its way a little bit here late.
Yeah, confidence was growing. The defensive end, we're getting stops. It takes a little pressure off the O. and the ball's just moving. You know, that we're such an unselfish group, and the ball's just not sticking like it did at one time with this group because they just understand our offense better. Bottom line, we just needed experience. They needed to understand what we were trying to get across offensively and what it needed to look like to be at our best. And now, if you watch us play, it looks like Oregon State, inside out, extra pass, you know, wide open shots instead of contested shots. And so, of course, the percentages are going to rise.
Coach, one more question, just about the conference. Should it get 3 bids on Sunday? I mean, Portland goes 29-4, Gonzaga 1 seed, really good team. I mean, you talk about being in a new conference here. Should it get more respect moving forward?
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I mean, you get 29 wins. You know, it'd be great if you were in the NCAA tournament with that. You know, Gonzaga is Gonzaga. They're a tough out for anyone, elite program, and so I'd love to see it. And this conference, I don't look at every rating system. I look at Massey ratings, though. I've learned to trust it. I think it's most accurate. And Massey has this conference the 6th best in the country, and so why shouldn't the 6th best conference have 3 teams?